Okay, I want to pull this corner out, it looks like, just a little bit. So we can actually use the smudge tool to do that. We could erase it, or we could just pull the transparent edge out. There we go. All right. That's good, that's good. Now remember I said I wanted to pull those brow ridges up. Let's do that now. So we go down to our skin layer, and there's a couple of ways we can do that. I'm going to try just a really quick method first and see if I like that. So I'm going to pull out our smudge tool, make a really big brush, not quite that big, about like so, and see if I can just pull the whole thing up just a tad. And then the same thing over here. Alright, let's see if we've done that roughly evenly. That looks good. That looks good. Saved us an awful lot of time and effort that would have taken by repainting. And now let's blend in this bottom eyelid a bit. So let's go back to our eyelid layer. And at this point I could collapse the layers so that the eyelids are on the same layer as the skin itself. But we're not really running into a problem due to that, so we'll leave it editable for the moment. All right, let's blend that a little bit. Now, let's add a little bit more definition to these lids to make them really pop. So let's pull out, again, a dark shadow. We'll get one from under the nose. Let's make our brush nice and small, and going as small as we are, we can probably use a hard-edged brush. We'll set it to multiply, and we'll go at about 50% and see what that gives us. There we go. And this would be the shadow of the underside of the lid. And let's add just a hint of definition to where the lid wrinkles into the skin of the forehead. That's good. Let's do the same thing over here on the other side. And I'm not being too careful to get just the edge, you know, so it gives me a little bit of shadow here, but that's okay because the upper eyelid does cast a shadow on the lower lid and on the eyeball itself. We add just a hint up here for the folds, and then let's take the opacity down to about 10%. Give us a nice soft brush, and we'll just make a little pocket here. There we are. Now, one last thing we need to do is that we still don't quite have the definition we want to have on that eye, and that's because the lower lid does not have a highlight, or at least it really doesn't have a highlight to speak of. So let's pick up a nice bright color. We can go back to our small hard round brush, and we don't want it to multiply, we want it to screen a little bit larger, and 10% probably isn't enough. Let's go to about 30%, and let's just paint in, make this a little bit smaller so you can see, paint in that upper lid, or that upper edge of the lower lid. Now let's pull a little bit of that purple for the reflection there. And do the same thing over here. We'll start with the light color. We'll give that an edge. And then we'll pull some of that purple to give it a little bit of reflected color. And then for the last thing, we're going to take a dark color, set to multiply, and make it an even smaller brush. Bring that opacity up to about 70% because I'm going to want just a hint of more of definition here between the lid and the eyeball. Let's pull an even darker color there. There we go. And do the same thing over here. And this will just be a really subtle bit to help it to really pop. And there are our eyes. Very alien looking. Very alien looking. So that was it for this tutorial. Next time I'm just going to show you just a couple of little tricks for giving just a hint of detail to the surface of shapes, and then we'll probably just finish out with this belt and we'll be done. I don't think I've shown you some of the work I've done in the meantime. So I've done the boots and I've done the robe and much of the tabard, but we'll be adding some seams and things like that next time.